we finish what we started.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the studio. Today, Wyatt, myself, my brother Josh back there, we're going to be reviewing the whole entire season, The Last of Us, the HBO series, this season 1. And we know there's been a renewed for season 2 that HBO has been granted. So we're going to give our thoughts about this whole season 1. And I know there's been moments that we've been pleased, and there's been quite a few that we have been not pleased about this season. If you're a person who just loves the show from start to finish, I don't know how much you'll enjoy our thoughts, but I think we have some logical thoughts that we're going to bring to this argument.
And for those of you who follow the channel and you've been watching the other ones, I am wearing a hat. I don't usually.
Why is it so insecure about this?
Information. I'm wearing a hat today.
And it's backwards, by the way.
It is backwards.
Like me.
I don't usually do this. So.
Is that your zombie apocalypse hat?
Yeah, a little bit of a tree. Yeah. It's got frogs on the front of it, but that's back there.
That's back there. Business in the front.
Right, party in
the back.
Ribbit in the back.
Ribbit.
Yeah.
All right. So The Last of Us season 1, overall, I think it had a strong start. I think the start made sense. I think episode 2, one of the strongest in the season. Yeah. And my hopes were getting high.
What happened in episode 2?
Episode 2 was, remember, that's when Tess got killed at the end.
Yeah.
Where she got the kiss of death.
They wandered through the city.
Oh, yeah. That was a kind of a disgusting episode.
Yeah, we got to see some stuff that looks like you're going through the game.
What did we call that kiss? It was funny. I don't remember.
We called it on one of the videos.
Kiss.
A fun kiss. Yeah, that's it.
It was funny. You know what? That was a pretty funny line.
Wyatt's giving himself a pat on the back.
Good job. But then we hit episode 3, and the show felt like it took a turn from there.
Yeah, they deviated just to tell a side story.
Right. To elaborate on a same-sex relationship that was a part of lore, but not elaborated in the game for that lore, you know?
But that was kind of a turning point in the show for me, and it started a trend of leaving the main characters to show other stuff instead of focusing on the main characters to get that really strong bond to really hammer home those moments in the last episode. They had some really solid moments together in the last episode that felt a little bit shallow because they didn't have, I think, this is my opinion, enough time to
show us everything for Joel and Ellie.
Yeah.
But if we actually think about the relationship with Joel and Ellie, most of their development for how much Joel and Ellie come to care for each other, most of that happened off screen. Like a couple big events took place, a couple close calls took place, but more so, like this emotional depth we see in the finale episode feels like a bunch of important things happened off screen. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, it was. And you're right. The emotional trust, the emotional connection they had just wasn't believable at that point. And I think they could have got there, but we wasted a lot of time. Just a lot of time.
Something I saw and noticed throughout the season. So each episode they wanted to feel like, because it is a game, they wanted to show like part of a game, almost like it's a level in the game. And I feel like when they were doing that, and that's, you brought up, they would go on side quests with characters like with Bill and Frank. We said that it should have been like a 10-minute thing and then go back to Joel and Ellie.
Right.
But because they did that level type episodic thing, I think that didn't give them the freedom to experiment and give the character development that they're supposed to. So their artful choice of how they were going to do the show ultimately, in my opinion, was a downfall for their character development. And that's why I don't think we got a good, strong character and relationship for Joel and Ellie until later on, like almost the last 2 episodes.
And yeah, it felt like they decided this relationship is going to grow because they went through scary stuff and then they bonded over puns.
Yeah.
But that was it. Even when he's sick. He's sick. And then we spend an entire episode seeing what happened to Riley, and we don't get some sort of conclusion that adds to Ellie's character.
Mm-hmm.
We go through the episode, we get her history, we see what happens, and then the only payoff is later she says, well, I had to kill my friend.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean by their episodic episodes, level episodes is what they were trying to do, was a downfall to their character development, because what was the friend that Riley. Even her character, we got no character development from because of that, because they wanted to just have one episode with her, and then they could have done flashbacks and kind of told her story throughout, and we would have been more invested with her, and even felt Ellie's pain of having to kill her because of that. But they didn't, because they put it all in one episode.
Well, okay, so in my opinion, this should have been done in 2 ways. And the second one, I think, would have been actually a lot of fun, and maybe would have made the fan base so much more excited for this, right? But what I think they should have done is they should have spent either the Bill and Frank, the Ellie and Riley, the other 2 characters that ended up dying, but was with Joel and Ellie, which actually felt like a stronger episode.
Yeah,
right?
That was a good episode.
The 2
I actually
brothers.
really enjoyed that one.
They should have done that in 10 to 20 minute sections of the episode, and then got back to the main story, because the motivation for Bill and Frank, what they left, a truck and a letter and all of this, that's not enough to take up 50 plus minutes of this, 10 or 9 episode series.
Yeah.
The other idea would have been awesome is if they would have taken all 9 episodes to tell Joel and Ellie's story and interact with these characters. Then they could have done bonus episodes where hidden, or that you can unlock on a website or something inside of HBO that gave elaborate concepts about Ellie and Riley or Bill and Frank, kind of like games do with downloadable content, where you can get it after the fact or just extra that's kind of in the background. That would have been fun.
If I were to tell the story a different way, I wouldn't have gone whole hog with the flashback, because what they were doing was they're trying to get parallels, right? Bill and Frank's is like, oh, you can find love in the apocalypse, and that there are people who are worth being vulnerable for. But I would have shown that in flashbacks as they travel, and kind of ultimately the conclusion of the episode would have been that Joel reads the letter and he doesn't know that he's willing to make that sacrifice for this girl. He already did that once.
Right.
And it would be kind of a downer. But you would have told the story well, instead of just abandoning the main characters for a significant time.
For 3 major significant amounts of time.
The other issues that I had with the show, we're going to harp on issues probably throughout. There are some good things that we are going to talk about. Is just kind of some of the little dialogue things I think didn't work. There were certain, especially from Ellie, I think maybe it's just the performance is a little bit,
I mean, honestly,
flat in my opinion.
Maybe, but I if you watch the gameplay, it's pretty similar. And so
is it?
If I say any, I think she studied Ellie's character in the game very pretty extensively and replicated it well. If there's going to be a critique there, I think the game's representation of Ellie as a character is a bit shallow, or a bit weak. That's what I think.
But I think yes, they were doing a show off of a game, but the show has to show us a little bit more than the game. They show us what we want from the game, but also give us a little bit more to that Ellie character. And I think what Wyatt said, her acting, yes, should have given us what she gave us, but also give us a little bit more in depth. It felt like she was smiling and almost bubbly, and it wasn't. She did the same thing the whole time.
Like at the end, at the last episode, I would have liked a little bit more character development from her. Clearly, she's pondering something at the beginning, which they don't really give much of a hint to, just that she's distraught from the last episode, which is, makes sense. She should be. And then all of a sudden she sees something and she's like a dog looking at a squirrel. Right? Like, oh my gosh, look at it. And then proceeds to run away from Joel. And maybe that happened in the game too. I just wanted her to see her being safer.
Yeah, or just
being more careful. Like maybe she learned something from this guy along the way. The other thing, and the last thing I'm going to talk about is, I mean, I could go into Joel, but I think he was okay.
Pedro Pascal did a good representation of a person of his back,
like a version of Joel.
Yeah,
he's not the same as he is in the games, but he's okay. My thing is like they don't really establish like the presence in the game of like Fedra versus the Fireflies.
Right.
I would have liked for them to establish a much more Fireflies are good, Fedra's bad. I think they did kind of, but they mentioned several times they're the only ones keeping us from downfall of society.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're keeping society together, and it's violent and it sucks, and they're doing things that are wrong.
Right.
But they're keeping us from being on the brink. They say all that, and then they're like, but they're just completely evil.
Right.
Like they're holding us together. They're what's holding humanity together.
So,
but they're evil.
Complexity of ideas.
Yeah, I wish
what
that
you're
was a
looking
little
for.
bit more complex. That way you could have been or
torn. You could be torn.
Or if they didn't make it more complex, I would have liked it to be a little bit more stark. Firefly's good, Fedra bad.
Right.
That way at the end when when the Fireflies are doing some shady stuff,
to Ellie,
we're like, oh man, this really kind of sucks because I thought they were the good guys.
Right, and then that actually leans itself more to kind of the Game of Thrones style of storytelling.
And we all can see that coming. It's just it's a story thread that works.
Throughout the whole show,
right.
Yeah, throughout the whole show, you're absolutely not rooting for either Fedra or the Fireflies as a group. So you're kind of like skeptical of everybody on both sides. Now maybe that's what they were going for, but as far as storytelling and intrigue and investment goes, it's a bit shallow. Yeah, you can't get invested in either side. All they want you to do is get invested in Ellie and Joel, and they can't even do that right because they're also throwing in Bill, Frank, Riley, these two brothers. I can't remember. Two brothers. I can't remember their names. And then this preacher group, they're throwing in all of these complex characters that is taking away from us investing in what they're supposed to be investing in, which is Ellie and Joel and their journey together.
Right. And we haven't touched on the preacher episode that much. Josh, tell us about it.
I was just about to make the same joke. I really enjoyed that episode. But there'd be too much to get into. So
yeah. Let's talk about maybe some of the goods and then wrap this up.
I think the cordyceps, the concept of infected, incredible.
Not enough of them.
Not enough.
Screen. I wanted to see more.
That's another critique.
Maybe that's my biggest complaint.
And we're not.
I wanted more cordyceps.
We're not trying to say you need to be like Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like we don't need that extensive. But gosh dang it, if the 70% of this season, 0 infected. Maybe 80% of this season.
I wanted to see more moments like that happens in the Two Brothers episode where we got cordyceps coming up out of the ground.
Yeah.
That big one. We didn't even see
that big battle where they're fighting a horde of them. That was incredible.
Yeah.
It looked awesome.
I think there's supposed to be like a Rat King one that's a whole bunch of people all tied together. I wanted to see more stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, they were cool when they were on screen.
Yeah, they were there.
They were really fun.
We needed a little bit more of that fun kiss.
Yeah. When the action's going, it's going.
What? Yes.
When things are happening, it's scary. Even in the Ellie and Riley episode, when things start to get creepy in the mall,
is when it showed that there is an infected nearby.
Yeah, and then it felt like there was some
grab.
Grab. There was a little bit of tension in the air. You could feel it.
That
made the episode more enjoyable because they're doing kid things and fun things.
And then there's a serious danger on the
If they had showed that at the beginning,
then you would have been
a little bit more throughout. I'd have been the tension as they're running around playing video games and things.
You're like shush, shush, shush.
Yeah.
This is still negative though. This is not positive.
Yeah, you're right.
What you like about
we're saying
tension. Tension. When the tension was good, it was good.
Right before Joel gets stabbed, when they're going through that building and they see the monkeys and they're like the tension was there too. Like those were good moments. And it's not just we don't just need tension, but this is the genre of story that we're in. We are in apocalypse. Danger's around the corner.
When Joel and Ellie, when their relationship works, when it feels like it's them together talking, it works.
Yeah,
they're doing it. The show's about them, and that's good. And I wanted more. I kept wanting more of that. I wanted more of that and more cordyceps.
Yeah, keep in mind the finale of the season had 1 infected, and it was in the flashback at the beginning. The finale.
Yeah.
One infected at the beginning.
I'm okay with that because of what that episode is about.
It was pretty cool when Joel was just...
when he goes in and does his thing. But I wanted more. I wanted the Cordyceps to be a bigger threat.
Yeah, and maybe they're trying to imply
more positives. Let's do more positives.
All right, more positives. I think the acting overall was great.
There were some good performances.
The writing was rough at times, but overall, the performances were good. And as much as I'm annoyed with Bill and Frank's episode, them on screen worked.
Good actors.
Yeah.
Great acting, good character development.
I don't know that
for that episode, it just felt out of place.
It'll be strange watching Parks and Rec.
I feel like Ron Swanson.
Because I'm like, this is kind of the same character if we're being really honest with ourselves.
Very similar character. Maybe that's why he was cast.
Yeah.
Get away from Ron.
Well, something I really liked was the visuals looked really good. What is the technology they use in Mandalorian? What is that
Volume?
called? The volume, yes. That's the word I was
They
looking
use
for.
Unreal Engine for the animation.
I want to say they use some volume for
definitely.
some of the city stuff, and it looks fantastic. I've got no complaints
that
with
giraffe was real. We were
It
talking
was?
about the giraffe. It was a real giraffe.
They pulled it out. It was real.
Yeah.
Because I was confused. I was looking at it.
I was
like,
looking at and
if this is fake, it's a good job.
I was like, that could easily be fake. And then I thought, no, you know what? It's probably just on the volume or on a green screen or blue screen, and it just something about it feels off. But no, it's a real giraffe.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They did a good job with that. I like.
It was a cool scene.
I like how when you do see the greenery or the carnage of cities and areas, it does feel like the game, like the vast landscapes. When you see those, it feels they make the greens pop like the games do when it's in the midday, you know?
Yeah.
And and in the evening times, the blues really pop as well. I think cinematography wise, it's beautiful.
It was good, yeah,
all the way through. Any final positives or final thoughts before I guess we start expecting season 2 to come?
So I know what season 2 is, and I know what the writer has said about season 2.
Right.
That it's going to be the same as the game, which is unfortunate.
A lot of people didn't like game 2.
A lot of people didn't like it.
So I don't know what they're trying to prove
but the
here.
TV audience might be different.
Yeah.
We'll see.
A big chunk of the TV audience loved the things that we pointed out as negatives here.
I got a question for you guys.
Go for it.
Would you recommend this show?
No, I would not.
Okay.
I would recommend the first
not.
2 episodes and that one episode with the brothers. I would recommend 3 episodes out of this 9 episode series. That's all I would recommend. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I would. At first, I probably would, like the first couple of episodes, like Joseph said, but there wasn't enough good to sit down for the whole season, I don't think.
It trudges along with information that they want to give us, but ultimately we don't want that information. Does that make sense? So what would you recommend this?
No.
You just hard no.
Just hard no.
Okay.
And it's I agree. You know, Josh said it. There's not enough good to outweigh the stuff I didn't enjoy. And the stuff I didn't enjoy was mostly like boring stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, could we not do this? Could we be less bored at this moment here? Yeah, I don't know. Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't disagree with anything. We seem to all be on a very similar page as far as this season 1 of The Last of Us goes. We want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. We will read them. I'm looking for thoughtful things about the show, not just insulting our intelligence.
Oh my gosh, you guys are...
You can't even understand the
these
complexity.
These are Emmy-winning writers. How dare you criticize...
Wait, if you're going to leave that comment,
everybody's allowed to have their opinion.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to plug the Patreon. If you want to see, we have exclusive content on the Patreon. We have the podcast stuff that comes out early.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff you can go check out if you enjoy our videos. So go check it out. It'll be in the description down below.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you would consider subscribing to the channel, we'd really love for you to hang out with us and watch more videos like this, as well as reactions and other cinematography, filmmaking, history of filmmaking, stories, breakdowns, things like that. We talk about movies over here. Stick around for that. We appreciate you, and click through the next recommended video. We'll see you over there.